Good morning from the last day of AIMEXPO 2025. I'm sneaking in about an hour early. There's very few people here. I just thought I would give you a quick run through of what it looks like without people everywhere. Hopefully it's somewhat interesting. Oh, just in case you're not a Yamaha blue guy, they threw in a couple. This is something I don't like at all. This near matte black. It doesn't work for the Honda Transalp, and it sure as heck does not work for a sport bike. FC1's a better bike. Really? You gonna be on a track with this thing? Headlights and wings, I don't think they really need to be together. Now, don't get me wrong, I like to ride fast, I really do. You know, obviously right up to the speed limit. But what am I gonna do with wings on the road? I think if my bike needs wings on the road, I'm probably in the wrong place and need to find a track. One of the other takeaways from here is I really did not understand how many different companies are producing products that I've never seen in the wild. There are many, many brands of helmets, parts, jackets. I've never heard of them. I don't know if they just haven't hit my market, no one in my area is buying them, or they're up and coming brands. If I was actually a decent YouTuber, I'd have stopped at all these places and asked. I gotta say, things are getting more stylish. Maybe it's because everything in gear is getting so expensive, but nothing is plain anymore. Everything appears to be, I don't know, designed in Italy for looks. That Liette carbon helmet is in a bunch of places. Oh, here's what I can get behind. Just enough color for contrast, but sticking with the grays that are my favorite. Whew. I tell you, if there's one thing that will happen when you walk around the expo, is understanding this is no longer an everyman's sport, motorcycling that is. Everything here is expensive, very, very expensive. As I mentioned earlier, this is for dealers. So I've heard a lot of conversations, and I talked to one guy about what they sell this stuff to the dealer, and then the amount of markup that the dealer can get, the pricing that's required, and unfortunately, we are no longer an everyman sport. It is big money, it is small margins. If anything else I took away about understanding dealers is they're not making a lot of money on any single item. That's why they're trying to get you to buy more things, because these guys are on the bleeding edge and they are not raking it in. The amount of money they have to give the supplier, the amount of money that goes directly to the manufacturer, these guys are living on the edge. And that's not good for anyone. Not good for them. It's not good for the sport. It's not good for the guy walking in with limited finances. Gotta admit, that looks halfway decent. The Zero Adventure bike. Millions of dollars of technological development, and you realistically still can't go anywhere. If anyone's a fan of history, they'll realize that some of the first automobiles were electric. They were inexpensive, they were plentiful, they were common. But batteries simply could not compete with the combustion engine. And 125 years later, it's still the same. We are still faced with the fact that you can throw tens of millions of dollars into developing a beautiful bike like that. You cannot make that bike viable yet. We're simply not there. I think this is the third Cove I've run into. Now, this Cove is nowhere near as pretty as the Revit one, but this one is well loved and well used. Putting the dirt on it makes it look huge. It's Very impressive. I must say it has been an absolute pleasure to finally meet Kyle Bradshaw in person. It was an absolute pleasure to meet Deb in person. Kyle said the owner of the company was coming around yesterday, and I did miss him, and I feel badly about that because I would have liked to say to him, you hire great people, you produce a great product, and you support the industry. I sincerely appreciate what you do, and I do sincerely appreciate Kyle and Deb. I've met with many really nice people here working for many brands that I have not heard of and that I have heard of, and Kyle and Deb are really authentic people. They are an asset to the industry. Ooh, there's some lighting. Oh, you can't escape it. Everywhere you go, it's electric. Boogie, woogie, woogie. I had to do that one for my wife. We're falling a little more down into the bicycle size. And honestly, now that we just passed the giant full-sized motorcycle versions of electric that I still say I will probably die of old age before those are viable. But what we have behind us, the lightweight ones that you're gonna take out for an hour, because that's about all you're gonna get, I think that's all we can hope for a while. These batteries just aren't going to bring an adventure bike on an adventure unless your Starbucks is relatively close to you. But things like this, smaller bikes that you can just put in the back of your pickup truck and take to a track or take to the woods where you're only gonna spend a couple hours anyway, there's a future for that, and it's, I think, relatively close. I don't think the future is purple, but I could be wrong. Oh, here we go. Here's the one I would not mind owning. Look at that bike. 72 volt, 40 amp hours, 10,000 watts, 55 miles an hour, a range of 80 miles. Okay, I stand corrected. Even with the small lightweight ones, 80 miles, and that's gonna be tested at a track, not tested in the woods. You're probably looking at 40 miles in the woods. That's a pretty short day. So if you bring that one to the woods with you, you better have a gas engine bike to swap out in the middle of the day. All right, that's enough wandering around in the emptiness here. I've got people looking at me like I'm strange because we're not supposed to be wandering around quite this early. Let's hang this up.